verse from the text Mirror of Zen by Master Sosan. This is the text. This is one of the verses where he talks about ethics, so I think it's important to reflect on this a little. And I'm going to read the verse to you now, and then I'm going to unpack it a little. Sosan says, if you just look deeply into things, you see that killing, stealing, unchaste conduct, and lying all arise from this one mind. And when the ground from which these defilements arise is seen to be empty and perfect stillness, what defilement could ever arise? I'm going to read that again. If you look deeply into things, you see that killing, stealing, unchaste conduct, and lying all arise from this one mind. And when the ground from which these defilements arise is seen to be empty and perfect stillness, what defilement could ever arise? So he's talking about Buddhist precepts here, but only 4 of them. He's not talking about the 5th one. These are the basic guidelines for morality in Buddhism. The first precept is, I vow to support living creatures and refrain from killing. The second precept is, I vow to respect the property of others and refrain from stealing. The third precept is, I vow to regard all beings with respect and dignity and refrain from sexual misconduct. The fourth precept is, I vow to be truthful and refrain from lying. And then the 5th precept, which he didn't reference here, is to maintain a clear mind and refrain from harming ourselves with intoxication. I used the version of the precepts that Thich Nhat Hanh uses. There's lots of versions out there, but that's the one I like. So he only referenced the first 4. He didn't reference the one about intoxicating the mind. I think that's because those first 4, killing, stealing, lying, I don't want to call it objectifying people. Objectifying people, those things are really obvious in how they hurt other people. And so I think that's why that they're addressed in the verse. When we still the mind and we kind of can see how things really are and we can see our true nature, then the hope is that we become less bound up in selfishness, because those things are about selfishness, right? You steal because you covet something someone else owns. You lie to make yourself look better or feel better, to get yourself out of trouble. And hopefully when we can still the mind and have a more nuanced understanding of the world and our place in it, then we aren't so focused on me against the world all the time. So that we aren't making enemies out of everyone, out of everything all the time, which is how we are sometimes. We make enemies out of the world around us. And so San is challenging us to have a more enlightened understanding and to see ourselves as part of a connected whole, part of a society. And more than that, we want to be committed to helping others instead of harming them. But also, if we have a more nuanced and clear vision of the world and our place in it, we realize that doing the things on that list, killing, stealing, lying, objectifying others, these things, they sow disharmony. Some parts of Buddhist ethics, most of Buddhist ethics is really about just having harmony with the people around you, because if you have harmony with the people around you, then your practice is better. You can more diligently work on the practice of enlightenment. And every one of those things on that list, when the Buddha created it, he saw these are the things that really ruin harmony, ruin friendships, ruin people's lives, and make people unable to trust each other. So I think that's really important. So that is why Sosan said, when we're looking deeply into ourselves, we're seeing these things can help us in the short term in some ways, but they create disharmony. They make it hard for people to trust us. They make it hard for people to like us, and hard for us to like ourselves too, because even if you get away with a lie, you know you lied, and you can always worry about being caught. And that is just a struggle in your own mind. So that is Sosan's addressing of ethics. He addresses ethics again in the text later on, but that again was verse 33 from Mirror of Zen, which I really recommend you pick up. And thank you for